Hey guys, today we're going to be reviewing the video game Resident Evil 3, the remake. So, as I just said, we're going to be talking about the latest video game in the franchise, the Resident Evil franchise, and this is Resident Evil 3, the remake. Stephanie, when did the original, you know, Stephanie has more memory about this.
I don't think I do.
Do you know what I'm about to ask?
About when the original came out?
Yeah, do you remember when the original Resident Evil 3 came out?
I'm not sure if it was 98 or 99.
It might have been about 99, because I think it was before 2000s.
Yeah.
We should have done research. Me and Stephanie, if you don't know, we are very crazy. We are very crazy fans of the Resident Evil video game series, even the movies. We love the movies. Fight us. We'll fight you. We love all things Resident Evil. I don't know why. I don't know how that happened. It's just Resident Evil is a video game franchise that we played those first 3 games, because by the time we started playing Resident Evil,
It was about 2001.
yeah, we started playing Resident Evil about 2001.
When Code Veronica came out.
Yeah, and by then the first 3 games had come out, and we had purchased Code Veronica. And so yeah, we love Resident Evil. We've been fans since we were pre-teens, pretty much, weren't we?
I'll say 2000s, no, because then that means I was 11.
Well, that would be preteens.
Oh, is that
yeah, that'd be
preteen?
preteens. So yeah, we've been fans of Resident Evil since we were preteens. And yeah, these are bloody, graphic, gory games, and we're weird and we love them. So yeah, they've been slowly remaking all the games. They remade the first one, they remade the second one, so finally they got around to the remake of the 3rd game. So that's essentially what we're going to be talking about here, is talking about this remake, what we like, what we don't like, what works, what doesn't, and I guess kind of comparing it to that original to some extent. So, spoilers to some degree, I suppose. I mean, there's not really, it's a video game. There's not really a hell of a lot to spoil anyway. So we're going to kind of be talking about this in a couple different ways, because Stephanie is the one who physically played the game. Because I've said before, I don't like to play games. I have a hard time. I'm just not very coordinated with a controller. I really like to watch video games, so I'm usually the backseat driver yelling at her what she needs to be doing. So yeah, Stephanie's going to kind of be talking about the game on a gameplay level, her experience there, and I guess I'll be talking about it as a viewer, I suppose. So that way you just a disclaimer, because yeah, I'm not the one playing it. I can't tell you about the gameplay. I just can tell you about what I was watching. So I guess, Stephanie, since that's what's important, is the actual gameplay itself and the playing of it, let us know your thoughts about it.
Well, first, I heavily enjoyed it. I think we've played every game, except I still have not played 7, so I'm bitter. But, and Dead Aim, the game that some probably forget about.
I forget about Dead Aim.
But I love every Resident Evil game, except Outbreak games. Those are okay.
Those are the ones where you play 7 different people, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I didn't like those either.
So I heavily enjoyed this. I'm never not gonna like a Resident Evil game.
I think we're weird in that way, because there's a lot of people that are just die-hard people who love the first 3 games, and I think in the 4th one, people love the 4th one. But then kind of after that, it's a lot of fans kind of fell off and started hating it. And
I know there's I think 6 has the biggest hate.
And
6 is one of the ones that I probably enjoy, that's in the top.
That's the one with Jake and Sherry. Right?
And Leon and that
and
chick.
Helena, I think her name was. And Piers and Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that one. Yeah, I've always loved all the Resident Evil games. I mean, there's something I obviously...
A lot of people didn't like once they turned action.
Yeah, more action-y, I guess.
But
more than the survival horror, I guess. But yeah, I've always loved all the games. I mean, I especially love the first 3, because even though the first 3 are just so cheesy and corny, it's there's still something special about those first 3 that I love. And then yeah, I love Code Veronica, and then 4 is just amazing. And then yeah, the other ones, I still love them. I don't like them as much, but I still love them and I enjoy playing them.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, so Remake was awesome. It's always nice to get because I love the old characters. I never want them to replace these characters. That's why I'm so bitter about 7.
I have watched gameplay, because she hasn't played it, but I have watched gameplay for Resident Evil 7, and that just nothing about Resident Evil to me. It's it was still a good game, but just nothing just was shouting out, hey, this is Resident Evil. So
Yeah,
yeah,
like-
these remakes, yeah, I've been loving these
Yeah.
remakes because
I love
it's-
going back to
yeah, it's going back to the
everybody.
it's going back to the characters that we love and the stories that we love. And yeah, those original games, they're silly and cheesy and absurd, and they're so freaking pixelated. So yeah, that's why I love these updates, because it's fun to see your favorite characters, you know, looking like people now and not pixels.
I think too, once they announced this game, like, or when Resident Evil 2 remake came out, we were, what's Jill gonna look like? Because, you know, with her skirt, and we were like, so how's Jill gonna look?
Yeah, this is 2020, you guys. You know Jill Valentine wasn't going to be in that miniskirt like she is in the original. That's not acceptable nowadays.
I still enjoyed the story. They did alter it a bit in places, and it didn't make me mad though that something I was like maybe kind of like, oh man, they kind of cut that out. But you know, like I know the biggest thing is like the clock tower area, but that didn't really disappoint me too much, you know, because I still enjoyed going through the rest of it. And then they added a few new things, just a few.
So before we do kind of get into talking about the story, I mean, you're the one who played the game. How was the gameplay for you? The mechanics of it, I guess. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The difficulty or lack of, or the challenge.
It felt simple. Something that kind of hit me was there was no quick time buttons. I can't remember if in Resident Evil 2 Remake there were quick time actions.
Aren't you talking about like when
you
it
gotta press
says,
X, or you gotta press triangle?
oh, like when it says hurry, press X. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like when
okay.
triangle pops up on there because something's about to hit you, and you're supposed to hit the button
yeah,
that's on the
this
screen.
didn't have
This
anything
didn't
like
have
that.
any quick time action things.
Because they started out with Resident Evil 4,
Which is a
didn't they?
reason, which is something that a lot of people go on to about they hate those things, because then that means you're not really playing the game. Which
Yeah.
I don't know, that's stupid. I mean, I can see where people are coming from, but yeah, I don't know, the mechanics felt good. Pretty easy. They're still the same. That's what I've liked about all through Resident Evil games. It's always the same.
Was the
Buttons,
gameplay,
pretty much.
was it smooth?
I felt
to
like
you?
it
Was it glitchy?
No, I felt like it was super smooth because my biggest one that I realize is when you're on that bridge, the second form of Nemesis is chasing you on that bridge, and then Jill has to start running. A lot of times on games like that, sometimes it kind of is slow.
A bit glitchy sometimes.
Yeah, but like you're immediately able to take off, and then it does something else, and then you have to run again. And not any point during that scene was it like, I'm slow.
It felt smooth.
Yeah.
Like that transition from the cutscene into
you
resuming control.
There was nothing really, like, no lag between cutscenes and.
No, I'm not-
sometimes some of these games, sometimes I'm like, oh, is it my turn? Because I can't tell that it's my turn to play.
I'm not physically playing the game, but just from watching the gameplay of just other games that I've watched in the past, that's a great thing about modern gameplay, is that smoothness between cutscenes and then into, you know, you can resume and control the character. You know, that's something that I really appreciate, and I think Resident Evil 3 did a great job of that, with that transition between cutscenes and then resuming physical gameplay. Oh, and like something too, you know, those original Resident Evil games, you know, you would they were very focused on, you know, here's your area, and then you got to go through a door, and there's that load time in between. You know, in the original games, here's the door. You know, here's the door, and kind of takes a couple seconds as the game's loading. That door is your loading screen as you're heading into the next level. You know, and yeah, it's like these remakes have done a great job of smoothing out that gameplay, that you don't really have these loading times. You know, you're kind of just in and out of an area, and it feels huge. You know, the remakes help this Resident Evil world like feel bigger than what it is. You know, that you don't feel like you're just confined to a room. You know, here's a room, you move to the next room, here's the next room.
Which
you
also,
know, it feels like you're just continuously kind of moving in this bigger landscape, I
which
guess.
also makes it scarier.
Yeah.
Because like that's what I love about like all this, like the new games is, you know, zombies now can just, you know, I guess since 4, pretty much, or has it been since Code Veronica? I don't know, but you know, now it's even scarier because they can just come on through the door.
Yeah, because
quicker.
A lot of times in a game, like if you can outrun the zombie, you know, just outrun the zombie and go to the next room. But yeah, a lot of times now the zombie is going to follow you into the next room.
Yeah. Yeah, like,
Or
or
they're going to follow you and you're not going to escape. You're kind of forced to kill them.
yeah, or like the big baddies coming
Yeah.
at you, and you're thinking, I can go in this next room and I'm good. But no, now the baddie still comes in with you.
Okay, so Resident Evil 3, this remake is just called Resident Evil 3. The original game is called Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. So we don't even have a Nemesis title to this, which is interesting. But yeah, let's talk about Nemesis. How were you deathly terrified of Nemesis?
Yeah, first scared me. Well, we started on standard, and then my dumb self accidentally switched us to assisted mode because I died too many times, and I accidentally hit assisted. So we finished the game in assisted, embarrassingly. But anyway, so I've played every single thing except for Inferno. I've got to start that. He gets scarier as it progresses.
Which
like
level
in
of
mode.
difficulty?
Yeah.
I mean, he was already. I mean, I was sitting there watching you play him in standard and assisted, and he was still very frightening in that. And I can't even imagine the hardcore and
yeah.
Nightmare and Inferno, the other levels.
The disappointing part was that like he felt more overpowered in the beginning half of the game because he had legs.
Yeah,
He came at you
he
more
was
faster.
more mobile. He was
Yeah.
more mobile.
He just was a heck of a lot scarier at the beginning half, and then once he transformed to the second version, it was kind of like, I mean, it was still bad, but Nemesis chasing you is the scariest thing, and I was just disappointed that he wasn't there for that long, as big, tall, scary form. Like how Mr. X follows you for more than half the game.
Yeah, if you've played
as that first form.
if you've played the Resident Evil 2 remake, one of the best things about the Resident Evil 2 remake, I think, was how they incorporated the character of Mr. X in that, because we've played the original Resident Evil 2 and we were used to how Mr. X would pop up. He would kind of pop up, you would defeat him. The second game, the way they did that in the remake, he's just continuously there. I mean, there's really no point in wasting your ammo and killing him. He is continuously there as you're running around, and it makes it frightening and intense, and really just adds urgency to the gameplay. And so, yeah, they kind of did that same thing with Nemesis in this, but with him just kind of popping up just continuously, whereas in the original game, he just pops up and you kill him, Yeah, but yeah, this game, it's continuous, and it makes it really frightening with Nemesis, which is good, I guess.
But yeah, at the same time, I feel like, it was a little lacking that he didn't follow you as much in the game, like how Mr. X would in the second remake. I think that was like just a slight disappointment with that. I think that he wasn't chasing you as much.
Yeah, even though Nemesis in this remake was very threatening and intimidating, I think they did a better job with Mr. X in the RE2 remake.
Just the whole following you around.
Yeah, because that freaked me out.
And he went to any room you were in.
Yeah.
Except
your save room. Yeah, your save room was kind of it. So is that all you have to say about like just the gameplay in general?
Yeah.
The mechanics. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like just mechanics and whatnot. So I guess we can kind of move into just story aspects, story and character. I guess kind of starting with Jill. I definitely really liked the design of Jill. It's like we were saying, this is 2020, y'all.
It's
I
cool
think,
looking Jill.
they modernized her in such a way that she still felt recognizable. She still felt like that original Claire from the original one. Or Jill. Sorry, she felt like that original Jill. Yeah, they just took out the little skirt. They gave her something more practical to wear, which was nice. Just made her more of a badass. So yeah, I liked her updated look. I mean, they kept the hair. They kept that short haircut. Yeah, she wasn't as cheesy. That's something I love about. I love. Like we said, we love those first 3 original games to bits, as cheesy as they are. So yeah, this one you don't get that cheesiness, but you still get Jill as a badass. So yeah, Jill was definitely a great improvement. I mean, not too much terribly changed about her.
Which is good.
Which is good. Carlos is vastly different. Vastly different, but I still liked him. I still really liked him.
Yeah, I liked. It did take a while
to get used to him.
Well, I've seen the trailers and watching them multiple times, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of getting used to Carlos. So by the time we start playing the game, I was like, okay, I can deal with this. I can deal with the hair. At
The
first I was
hair-
like, what the heck's up with
yeah.
this hair?
I don't know what the hell they were doing with Carlos's hair. Why not give him a shorter haircut? I don't know why they gave him such a shaggy haircut.
But it grew on me, and after playing it 5 times, it's, you know, it's just, I'm used to it now.
Yeah, I grew used to it. Yeah, I grew used to it. I do like this version of Carlos, because, yeah, the original Carlos, he's very over the top and cheesy and silly. I think sometimes he can come across as a bit sexist. You know, he can come across as a bit sexist. And then, yeah, he's Hispanic, correct? Mm-hmm. That's something I couldn't tell in this game if he was he Hispanic? I couldn't really tell. But I think that was something they were trying to maybe change, because in the original game, he's supposed to be of a Hispanic background. And he sometimes comes across as a bit stereotypical, you know? So yeah, back in 1999 or whatever, you know.
rewatching
the game. Yeah, rewatching the game, it's kind of like, oh my god, you couldn't get by with this interpretation of him now, you know. But I still love original Carlos. But yeah, he was definitely updated. That they took out that cheesiness, though they kept
he's
him,
still cheesy,
but not in like a
cringy
way, I think. And yet he still was flirtatious.
Because in, like, Jill, because I just loved his and Jill's relationship through this one. Yeah. Because, you know, he kept making those comments to her, you know, talking about Nemesis was stalking her, didn't she like that in a man? And she's like, no. Yeah. So I liked, like, how they had, like, they bounced off of each other really well. She, like, progressed through that. She was warming up to him. Yeah. You know,
but they never had it like they were going to have a romance. No. Yeah, they kind of left that out.
Just like, trust.
Yeah. See, I definitely liked Carlos. He did seem cooler. He wasn't as cheesy or cringy. He was cooler. Yeah, I think he was definitely an improvement. I really liked that additional gameplay, because, you know, in the original game, what is the only time you play with Carlos? It's at the hospital, right? Yeah. The only time in the original you play with Carlos, if we're not mistaken, is the hospital. And so yeah, this game, you got control of him not only at the hospital, but at the Raccoon City Police Department. Yeah. And like lengthy, you spent a good amount of time with him too. So I liked how they did that, the extra time with him. And yeah, I really liked his parts of the game. Mm-hmm. I really liked the hospital and police station.
Because what was nice too about his part was that he found out more about Umbrella being
behind the scenes,
the biggest cause of this, and how Umbrella didn't really care that this was all for show. Yeah. That they were coming in and cleaning stuff up. That was just all for show to make it look like they were the heroes. So I love that there was this bigger thing with Carlos finding out how bad Umbrella actually was, and that was, you know, continuous throughout the game.
And then we were talking about the original Carlos being stereotypical. The same goes for Nikolai. Nikolai from the original game was, I think, stereotypically Russian, wasn't he? Yeah. So, yeah, they modernized Nikolai in this as well. I think his role still kind of felt the same. Because he was still a very menacing threat in the original, and I kind of still felt like he was the same in this. Like, I feel like there wasn't much improvement there. He was just kind of the same, which was okay.
I feel like in the original, he was sneaking around a little bit more. I remember there's like one time you walked into a room and you heard this clicking sound. You thought it was a zombie or a hunter, and you round the corner and he's typing on the computer, he's doing something.
This remake, I mean, you just know right from the get-go he's bad.
Yeah, they let you know that he's
bad.
an a-hole.
Whereas, yeah, the original, it's kind of more of a slow burn, like, what's up with this guy?
Yeah.
You know?
Because even Mikhail, I love that little remark he put in there on the train station where he said, funny how, you know, like this group of guys conveniently got like locked up somewhere. Like even he knew, you know, even he knows that his own guy like murdered his own teammates.
So yeah, I think they did a great job with Nikolai. Nikolai was kind of the same. Maybe a bit more there, but pretty much the same. Nice to see him not pixelated, because it's nice to see a face there. Mikhail, I feel like they did absolutely nothing with Mikhail. I feel like he had a bigger role in the original. Is it just me?
I felt like he did too, but
I feel like he
maybe
did more, and
We-
I felt like he came across more as a good guy, and then in this remake, I mean, he still just felt like a bad guy.
Yeah, they almost made him. Yeah, they kind of made him a little villainous.
Like, not to the length like Nikolai, I don't
Yeah,
think.
no.
He still just seemed more villainous.
But
I don't
then
know.
again, I think it was just the Russian in him, because then like, I mean, they were. I don't think he was really. I don't know. I don't know if he was really behind the whole umbrella thing or not. I mean, they were saving people,
Yeah.
and he was mad about Nemesis showing up on the train and killing all those extra, all those civilians and stuff.
Yeah.
He actually legit seemed mad. So I don't know if it was just he's like really hardcore on the
Yeah.
outside, but he actually cared about protecting
Yeah.
civilians.
And then you guys, we gotta talk about Tyrell. My favorite addition to the whole freaking game. Tyrell, who works with Nikolai, McCollin, and Carlos. I loved Tyrell. me and Stephanie were talking about that because Tyrell was new to the game. Because there's no Tyrell in the original, and we kind of were suspicious, like, oh god, is he going to be a bad guy?
Yeah, he seems sketchy.
Yeah, he seems sketchy, but he ends up being a pleasant surprise that he is a good guy. He's a genuine good guy, and he serves a really good use and function in the game. Whenever Carlos is kind of not there, know.
He's on Carlos's side. They both find out together that Umbrella's horrible.
Yeah. So yeah, Tyrell was like the best new thing to this game because there wasn't too terribly much new to the game. So yeah, that's kind of it with characters, ain't it?
We had Brad, and it was funny because they tried to redeem Brad in this game. But I loved
After all Brad's stupidity in the first game.
and it was. I wasn't even thinking about Marvin, the RPD guy. I loved the whole thing that they added with them, that it was Brad who bit Marvin. I was like, man, that's so cool. But then I was like, oh man, that's so sad.
Yeah.
Because it's Brad, and then you like Brad, but then he bites Marvin. You like Marvin. You're like, oh no. This is just a horrible thing. But something that I was kind of upset with, though. I mean, Carlos went to RPD, but in the original, Jill's the one who stumbles upon Brad getting killed by Nemesis. So this was like a massive turnaround for that. And it's kind of disappointing to see that Carlos is the one that kills Brad. But I guess Jill knew in her head that Brad was a goner.
Yeah, there were little things like that in the game that they were kind of flipping around a little bit. Like, there were some moments I was like, I'm expecting like this, but then it would kind of be flipped. I'd be like, okay, that's not
because
happening.
when Brad showed up or it showed Marvin, and then Brad was stumbling behind him, and it was like, oh no, he's the one that bites him. Oh, and then cool too. What was kind of cool was he spoke. That was super weird.
Oh yeah,
Brad still had a
bit of thought processing there before he totally zombified.
Because what did he say? Oh, he said, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And that was heartbreaking at the same time because it's two people you have known through the series, and to know that one of them is the demise of the other. And I was gonna say, I love too that how they tied in the RPD station, how they tied in stuff to the second game, because technically the third game becomes before the second game, and so I loved the little I don't know, clues or whatever about like
a big
what
one,
happened to the station.
Yeah, like a big one for me that I was like, oh, okay, because in Resident Evil 2, the remake, when Claire and Leon are kind of going through the police department, there's like an area where the bathroom and locker room, there's an area that's kind of blown out. And then in Resident Evil 3 remake, the wall is still there, and it shows that Carlos is responsible for putting a detonator there and blowing out the wall. So there's little things like that okay, Carlos is behind some of these things, why something is blown out or why something's kind of maybe put somewhere else. So it ties in very nicely. If you've played the Resident Evil 2 remake, it flows really nicely. There's a continuity there, which is weird. There's a continuity and an attention to detail, which is nice. So I appreciate those stupid things like that. So is that pretty much it? That's pretty much it about our thoughts on Resident Evil 3 Remake. Overall, I love it. I don't know if love might be a strong word. I honestly don't know how I feel about this remake of the third game. I really love the remake of the first game because the remake of the first game, it still felt very familiar. You know, there was something about it that still felt very familiar and recognizable, but just modernized. And it was just so frightening. And then the second game was the same way. The remake of the second game was the same way, that it felt modern, but still recognizable. And something about this third game, even though I liked this third game, I don't think I liked it anywhere near as much as I liked the remakes for 1 and 2. Just something about it, there was a lot of stuff about it that I was like, this just doesn't seem recognizable to me.
It just felt so short too.
It was so
they cut
short.
a lot of corners.
It felt very short, and like we were playing through it very quickly. I felt like, because I was expecting us, because in the original game, you're out there on the streets of Raccoon City for a very lengthy time. You're out there for a very lengthy time in the game, and this game, it's like you weren't really out on the streets of Raccoon City that long. In reality, when you're kind of thinking about it and you're looking at that map, it was kind of small.
Yeah, because you just kept really making circles. You ended up in the same place.
So, I mean, I was kind of disappointed with that you weren't out on the streets that long. You didn't spend that much time in the police station, which I understand because that was the sole focus of the second remake.
And what was awesome, though, about going back to the police station was we already knew the locker combinations.
Yeah, we cheated. We cheated because we already knew the locker.
Like DCM,
that's
CAP.
the thing. That's the thing too. If you played the second remake and you remember the locker combinations, you can just go right up to them and put the locker combinations in, and you don't need to sit and look for the piece of paper to tell you what the combination is. But yeah, this third game. I mean, something I did like was the expansion of the hospital. I did really love the expansion of the hospital.
It was very scary.
Yeah, the hospital is very scary. But yeah, this third game, I definitely wouldn't say it's my favorite of the remakes, because I definitely still prefer the remake of 1 and 2, because there's just something that, even though they're modernized, they still felt very, very familiar. And this third one, like I said, just a lot of it felt very different. And I just wasn't quite sure what to expect. And sometimes I was trying to compare it to the original, trying to figure out, okay, what is this? What is this in comparison to maybe another section in the original game? And it's like, is it supposed to be this? I can't really tell, And yeah, a lot was cut out, like the clock tower. I love everything that happens at that clock tower,
But some of the best puzzles were in that clock tower.
that had so many great puzzles. And yeah, that's the thing with these remakes. They're omitting a lot of, like, the puzzles, And I personally like the puzzles in Resident Evil, as silly and cheesy as they are. Because, yeah, it seems like these remakes are trying to make them a bit more action-oriented. Action-oriented rather than, kind of, hey, go look for this to do this in this puzzle,
We really wanted them to do a Code Veronica remake, because that one is pretty old-looking.
I love Code Veronica, but yeah, it needs an update.
Plus, I need a newer, updated Wesker,
Yes.
because even the remake of Resident Evil 1, wasn't that, like, mid-2000s or something?
Yeah.
I need a more updated Wesker. I need
Sexy Wesker. Yes.
same voice actor.
Yes.
I need that. But they did announce that they were going to do Resident Evil 4.
I just don't understand why Resident Evil 4 is being remade. I really don't. Because I feel like Resident Evil 4 is perfect. It's perfection to me. I mean, it does look a little sketchy around the edges. It's a little dated around the edges in some places, but still, I think Resident Evil 4, it still holds up. It still holds up enormously.
And that was like one of the first games where there was an almost smooth gameplay.
Yeah.
It still had some of the slow moments, like going through some
It's-
doors,
yeah,
but it was one of the first that had the most
It still had
smoothness.
it still had some of those moments of glitchiness and lack of smoothness, but yeah, it's like it was making progress. It was kind of the first game that was making progress like that.
But yeah, we love the story of Code Veronica, and I'd love to see that
Updated.
super modernized with really awesome looking.
But most importantly, a sexy
Really
Wesker.
sexy. I mean, Wesker's sexy in all formats.
Even pixelated.
Even super pixelated.
So, Stephanie, is that it?
Yeah.
I think that's it. We could sit here and talk about the game for a long time, but you all have a lack of patience, probably. You guys, that's it for our discussion on the video game, the remake of Resident Evil 3. we enjoyed it. In the comments below, have you guys played the Resident Evil 3 remake? What did you like about it? What did you dislike? Just share all your thoughts and feelings with us. And yeah, what do you think should be remade next with Resident Evil? Do you think they should go to Code Veronica? Because yeah, they're kind of, from the sound of it, it sounds like they're skipping over Code Veronica and head straight to 4, which is a little upsetting. So yeah, tell us what you think about these remakes. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, other videos. Bye guys.